as is it ought to be with the amount of money. I'm from South Carolina, which is a very poor state. There's no money there compared to the money here, believe you me. And there are no programs. When I think of our senior centers, I go around and look at those centers. They are fabulous here in Maryland. And it just brings tears to my eyes. We deserve it, but we've got it too. When I go home, it's very different. But I want to say this about Medicaid in Maryland, because Maryland does have the budget and the money. When that federal money comes in on Medicaid, there's a formula. So Maryland being a wealthy state, we pay 50 cents for every 50 cents that the Fed sends us. Now that's not true in Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama, which is what Nancy talked about. They get a different formula. Maybe they get 80 cents out of the dollar, and they pay 20 because that's all they can afford to pay. But I say that to remind you that Medicaid, we think of as a federal program. It is. But remember, state dollars are going into that program. So just keep that in mind. Every time you talk about a dollar for Medicaid, you're talking about 50 cents out of the state money to match it. Now the Medicaid older adults waiver, a lot of you call in, you want to know about this waiver. It's a wonderful program, and it provides services to persons with long-term care needs, and they can have that done at home in the community. You know, we are going back community-based now. We're trying to empty out the nursing homes. Everybody wants to come home out the nursing home. We're trying to accommodate them. Don't you want to stay in your own home as long as you can? Of course you do. I do too. I'm trying to figure it out. I talk to my husband about it all the time. Well, what if? What if this happens? What happens? Something happens to me or you? What are we going to do? We discuss this at the dinner table. You know, we're trying to figure it out because we're living longer. And we want to stay home-based as long as we can. Now this waiver, it can be a little bit expensive, but guess what? It's much less expensive than that same body, going and staying in the nursing home. So whenever we do the waiver, and we take a person and put them on the waiver, it cuts the cost of long-term care to the state of Maryland. And don't forget, we are putting up 50% of that cost from state dollars. So I'm very proud to announce to you this morning that the governor, our very dear Governor O'Malley, has committed funding in his proposed budget, this very controversial budget we're talking about, to expand the older adults waiver to serve an additional 300 persons. That's very big. That's 10% increase. So I want you to keep that in mind, because as families call us, we've got somebody, or my husband, or I, or whatever is happening. We are looking at that waiver. The waiver is wonderful because the waiver allows you to have the wraparound services. And you know, as we grow older, you can think of the things that you need. You need a personal caregiver sometimes after you get a little bit weaker. And you've got to have a proper diet, right? And you've got to have a place to stay. And someone to look in on you every now and then. Those are the things that we know. And as we grow older, that's what's going to happen to our bodies. Those are the needs that are out there. But this waiver is a fabulous program in Maryland. And so I want to thank Governor O'Malley, he's not here this morning, for doing that for us. And we are working very closely with the Medicaid money is over in the health department. For those of you who are worried about our budget, what has happened, when we got Eloise Foster, we shifted that money back over to DHMH. But we have the workers sitting up on the 10th floor in State Center and the Department of Aging. So that waiver has been increased by 10%. And then we have increased funding for the living at home waiver. And that one serves, as you know, your non-elderly adults and persons with disabilities who are 18 years old and older. Now, those of you who are advocates out here, I say to you, thank you, because you have worked around the clock. You've talked to the legislature, and you've talked to the governor and his staff, and you have pushed for this funding to be increased so that we can include more people in the waivers. And so this year's expansion has occurred because of many of you and what you've been able to do. And so we thank you on behalf of the families who will be making use of the expanded numbers. And we really need that here in the state of Maryland. Thank each and every one of you. Finally, I want to invite all of you to National Harbor. Now, how many of you have been down to National Harbor down in Prince George? So I see some hands. Now, you know, when I was a state senator, that was one of the projects that I pushed. I went over to Nashville, I looked at Gaylord. I went in there, I stayed, we went incognito, went all through there looking at it, saying, my goodness, I wonder if we could bring this to the shores of the Potomac. And of course, I came back home, and although we had some people say, oh, I think it's a good idea, guess what the majority of people said? Lord, are you out of your mind? How are you going to do that? They thought I was bringing a country and western hotel over there to put it on the Potomac. But I had to remind them I'm a country girl, and so there's a lot of country and western in me, you know? And so I like my boots and my cowboy hats and all of that. And I even go to the concerts, you know. So, but when they came over here, they of course made that venue look more like the international capital of the world, Washington, D.C. And it is fabulous. So this year, during the month of May, which is Older Americans Month, Older Mariners Month, we're going to have this fabulous Expo 2012. Now what I want to see, all of you get a little flyer. I don't know when you have a little flyer. Mike, we got the flyers. I want everyone here to have a flyer, because I want them to come down. This is going to be a fabulous event, and we're organizing all over the state to get you there. If you're in a senior center, that center probably will be running a bus, am I correct, Mike, to come down there? And it's going to be, I think, around the first weekend in May. We have the dates for it already. And so, May 3rd through 5th, we're going to have fun down there at Gaylord Hotel and Conference Center. And it's all about us. It's all about our families. It's about our children who are planning for us and planning for their own retirements. It's about the baby boomers. It's about Zumba. It's about all the things. Maybe we even have some old card games in there. You know, I love to play bridge and poker and all that too. So we don't know. We're going to have a little bit of everything in there. And it's going to be for you. I've been thinking about Paula D. You know, I love Paula. Now, they're fussing at Paula, but that's my girl. But you know, I'm out of Carolina. And you know, we love to cook not only butter, but lard. You know, we cook lard down in Carolina. And my mother knows from the hog farm down in Orangeburg County. So you know, we got the hog going real strong down in Carolina. And so when Paula's up there cooking, I'm right there with her. You know, I'm watching every movie she's making. And of course now, we know that Paula is, she's diabetic. Well, a lot of us are diabetic. My husband's a diabetic. And he was from Illinois. He wasn't down there cooking with us down in the hog farm. But he's still a diabetic. And so we have medications for that. We know we have to exercise and do all those things. But we're going to bring all of that into Expo 2012. We're going to be talking about it. And so I want to thank AARP. I see the shirts here this morning. Because guess what? You're one of our big partners in this. AARP is in the partnership with us to have this Expo 2012. It's all about seniors. It's all about us. It's our day. We're important. You better believe it. When you hear the Republicans and Democrats up there arguing and carrying on, I haven't heard much. I didn't even hear Gingrich or the other one say anything about Social Security. They were arguing down there in Florida. They didn't say a word about Social Security very much or about Medicare. I said, yeah, they get the message. They know what to leave alone. I don't matter who goes up there in 1600 Pennsylvania, they still got to deal with us. You know what? They got to deal with us. So I'm not even worried about it. I want to welcome Mayor Harding, who is now a member of the State Commission on Aging. Mayor, why don't you stand up and just wave your hand out there? He's a wonderful catch. We caught him involved, we reeled him in, and we worked him out in a different way this time. We really thank you for being available to us. Now I've said all that, and I'm going to say to you, I love you very much. You have a fine staff on the 10th floor over at the State Center in Baltimore City. You have 19 offices across the state of Maryland. We are working hard for you. There's nothing we wouldn't do for you because we are you. I am you, and we are together in this. And so you better believe it. This girl from Carolina is going to look after it. Thank you so much, and God bless you and your families. Good enough. Much happiness in 2012. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gloria Lawlah. Again, someone who needs no introduction. This is your president, your chairman, both, Ed Meyerson.
That says a whole lot. You know, each year we give an award to the champion for seniors. And this year, Gloria.
Yeah.
No,
He's a sneaky pea.
well, you know, I started to,
in on me.
I'm sneaky.
You are.
You know, when I went to do a biography so I could say something, it was too long. And everybody knows you anyway, so I thought I'd tell a story. Okay? What was this, 5 or 6 years ago? And there's a point to the story, and I'll get to the point. About 5 or 6 years ago, at a Thanksgiving luncheon in Howard County, Gloria and I did a little dancing. Remember that? Yes. She never lets me forget it, is what happened. But the point of that story is that wherever seniors are, Gloria's there. Whether it's Baltimore County, Allegheny County, it doesn't make any difference. You've been there all over, right? If there's a sign that says seniors, you look underneath it, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the name of Gloria Lawlah. So it's really my pleasure and my honor to present you with a plaque that says, in recognition of her efforts to maintain and enhance the well-being of Maryland seniors, United Seniors of Maryland bestows upon Gloria G. Lawlah the title Champion for Seniors, January 24, 2012.
Thank you, thank you.
You know, it's fun to be able to give something to somebody who's as worthy of it as you. Thank you so much.
Remember I told you Mike and Mike, the seniors? That other Mike is here. That's the president of the Senate, my dear friend Mike Miller.
And the other award, which I'm pleased to give, is an annual award to somebody who does the most for United Seniors. This year there wasn't any contest. You know, if you want to know something about United Seniors, you can go online to our webpage, but you can also now go to Facebook, you can Twitter, and you can go on YouTube, and you'll be able to see some of these proceedings on YouTube. We have a new membership management program, which is difficult as it is, would have been impossible without it. So with many, many thanks, I would like to have you welcome our newest vice president, because we made an office. I mean, we couldn't contain him without having an office of IT. And so, Bruce, would you come up here and accept an award? This award says, President's Award presented to Kenneth Bruce Emmerling, in grateful appreciation and recognition of his dedication and excellent work on behalf of the United Seniors of Maryland, January 24, 2012.
Pleasure to really work with USM and Meyerson and everybody. It's really been a great experience. I'm really glad to have been able to serve and help out.
And I'm just going to take about 2 minutes and tell you my term in office as president will expire this coming spring. It will have been 4 years of a lot of fun, a lot of grief, and a lot of progress. You've accomplished a lot. And you know, I wish I could give one more huge award, to all of you who are out there. Because whatever we've done, it's been because of you, by you, and for you. And without you, United Seniors of Maryland wouldn't be the force that it is. And so, as the last time of being able to address you as President of the United Seniors, I want to say thank you very, very much.
And I'd like to present you with a conference. Earlier this morning, you met the two leaders from the House of Delegates. Now it's my pleasure to introduce you to the leaders in the State Senate, the upper body. Thomas V. Mike Miller is the longest-serving State Senate President in the United States. Been doing this for 41 years, I think. Not-so-silent minority is E. Pipkin, senator from the Upper Eastern Shore and the minority leader in the U.S. Senate.
Okay, first of all, let me just say I'm honored to be here. I thank Lou for that introduction. Today we've got the two senior members of the press to handle this. They've been around a long time, and they know quite a few stories that they can tell themselves. One story that they both heard me tell before, I was giving a commencement at the University of Maryland College Park, and the little co-ed who was introduced me had the same bio that Lou had, and she said Senator Miller was elected to the Maryland Senate in 1974, and before that he served one term in the Maryland. They were supposed to say she was elected in 1974, and she's supposed to say before that he served one term in the Maryland House of Delegates with a red. And she got confused. She said Senator Miller was elected to the Maryland Senate in 1974, and before that he served one term in the Maryland House of Corrections. Being a Democrat means the Prince George's County, like this county. I hope that doesn't make you two, but anyway. It's always a pleasure to be here. One other anecdote, is people like your anecdote, if you're old like I am, a historian like I am, I'm certainly a senior now. This time, years and years and years ago, I was in the Senate, and Jimmy Carter was president. And he was running for re-election. And just like it is now, it was very tough times. I mean, very tough times. Interest rates now are 3%, 4%. They were 13%. And the hostages were in Iran. They were there, hostages in Iran. Remember this? And then the farmers started marching on Washington. People from the Midwest were marching on Washington. And they had the tractors and the corn circling the Capitol. Well, anyway, a blizzard hit. And they had to find a place to put the farmers. So they called up the local fire departments around Washington, D.C. Can you house the farmers? Well, fortunately, unfortunately, one of my little volunteer fire companies gets to house a farmer. And I was snowed in here in Annapolis. I thank you for putting up with this, Senator, by the way. But I was snowed in here in Annapolis, and I get this emergency call from the chief of the fire department. He said, look, we have these farmers here with their equipment, and we need something to do. Then you get out during the day. Would you like your driveway plowed? I had horses, and no way to get back to my horses. So I thought, well, that's really a nice gesture. Because I got to get back to feed my horses, and I was stuck in Annapolis. My wife was home with 5 kids and 4 horses. And I said, well, thank you very much. And so I got this emergency call from my wife an hour later. Come home immediately, come home immediately. I said, what's wrong? She says, there's this piece of equipment going up and down our driveway. I said, Patty, it's a piece of farm. She says, it's bigger than our house. You've got to come home immediately. And she said, but their neighbors are outside taking pictures. I said, Patty, they're probably like you, spoiled girl, never seen a piece of farm equipment. It's probably a corn picker. She said, but you don't understand, the television cameras are right there. She said, but they've got signs on the equipment. I said, so what? There's probably some farmer what some more pay? She says, no, the sign says Jimmy Carter sucks. I'm a Democrat supporting Jimmy Carter. In front of my house sign said Jimmy Carter sucks. My point in telling you this is a Jimmy Carter sucks time to be in government, okay, right now. And you're going to hear the negative side from my good friend, Senator Pipkin. He and I are friends. I'm from a more urban area, Prince George's County and Culver County. He's from the rural area. And let me introduce him, let him introduce himself, and we'll dialogue back and forth again.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for the opportunity to be here this morning. It is indeed an honor to be here with the Senate President. He certainly brings his unique perspective, and one thing to say about the Senate President, he comes to play every day, okay, every day. And we certainly know that as members of that august body, and we just have some differences of opinion, little differences in policy. So we can talk about some of them here today, but at the end of the day, I think we're all about moving the state of Maryland forward. I think it's an idea that many times we may go at it, and over time, some of the ideas from the other side seems to get accepted by our side, and some of the ideas that in any one given year may be seen as, gee, that's just not workable. And you find over time, the longer that you're here, that some of those unworkable ideas indeed end up bearing fruit. And we've worked together on a number of issues over the years that we think have moved the state forward. So again, I thank you for the opportunity to be here this morning, and look forward to the dialogue.
In case you couldn't tell, when the Senate President comes into the room, he's basically in control. They asked me to ask some questions. I've known Mike Miller